Hey everybody, it's Leah. Quick heads up, the first few minutes of the live broadcast didn't record, so I'm going to give you the essentials before we jump in. This Cogno Hour replay is about sensing beyond the visible. Your body receives the information, your frontal lobes interpret it, and when we open peripheral vision and the parietal lobes, you begin to access more of the light spectrum and the field around you. That is where people start seeing movement and color, feeling presence, and even receiving messages from loved ones and guides safely and clearly. We also talk about agreements. Choose how you will communicate: touch, sight, sound, knowing, and get on the same channel. In this session, Bill will guide a telepathy channel clearing and a peripheral vision activation so you can notice real shifts right away. If you love what you feel, the full 3-part series, Pierce the Veil, Connect Beyond the Scene, is where we go deeper with feeling, seeing, and knowing, and how to interpret what you receive. The link is in the description, and I'll drop it again at the end. All right, let's begin.
To whatever degree you want to open this up, you can. It's basically about tuning your tuner, your receptibility. So it's the body that receives the information. And if you're not tuned to the frequency, you just can't hear it or see it or taste it or smell it or touch it. Well, I would guess that most of you are. You just don't know how to interpret it. I think that's probably one of the biggest problems is the interpretation, which has to do with your frontal lobes actually receiving that information and knowing what the heck to do with it, right? So in the upcoming classes, these are what we're going to be doing. We're going to be opening those senses, and you kind of need to know what they are. So one of the things, Bill, that you can share with everybody is we're going to be accessing peripheral vision and parietal lobes, right? What does that do for people?
So, as it turns out, there's there is a part of your vision that there's a lot of the governmental agencies that have been interested in, and they've done a lot of testing, and they figured out that it is your peripheral vision or it is the receptors that are associated with this vision that can see into a broader perspective and see and not only see into a broader perspective, but also get new perceptions. In simple terms, uh, your ability to perceive not only a different perspective, but also to actually take in the data really is relative to this peripheral vision. Now, that's only one of the senses, but it interfaces with the other senses as well. So you can take in data from smell, touch, taste, hearing, seeing, feeling, a sensation in the body. All of these different methods of taking in information we're all used to, right? We eat hamburgers, drink Coca-Cola, eat French fries, do whatever, hear the music you love, see what you see. With each one of these senses, there is another degree, which is just beyond that. Turns out all of these senses have one thing in common, and that is vibration or frequency. And each one is in a different frequency range. You hear within a certain hertz. There's I forget what the hertz are, but there's a range that people can hear within. Liz was talking earlier. It doesn't mean sounds don't exist in a larger range. The dog whistle exists to prove that, right? That's what
The
that's
deer
what you call
whistle, a deer whistle too.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know about the deer whistle, but I think that's probably a different frequency that you can't hear. So anyway, all of these different things exist, even down to your smell. Anyway, it's really exciting because what you're going to learn this one just around the telepathy. We're going to work on that. That is a frequency which you're going to clear your receiver sender on.
Yeah. So, what's important about information coming into your parietal lobe and your frontal lobe being able to translate it is that that is the part of the brain that actually accesses time and space. So, on a really functional level, it tells you where the walls are around you so that you're not falling into things all the time. It's your spatial reference. It also weirdly is your time reference as well, and subtle fields. So it has to do with out here where we're interacting with other people's fields. You know, you've heard us say this, the field of your nervous system around your body is around 6 to 8 feet for a normal person and much larger for other people. But people that you're connected with, once you're connected, you're almost always connected on some level. So we're interacting with these. So when you open up this part of the peripheral vision that really directly accesses this part of the brain, all of those fields are naturally more open. This part of the vision also helps you see a little bit into the infrared as well, which we normally can't see into. So that thing out of the corner of your eye that walks through your field, now you actually see it. You know it's there. Otherwise, you turn your head, now you're in your frontal vision here and it's gone. So when you open that up, a lot of really exciting things happen, plus just great things for brain health. But for being able to see into more subtle fields, hear into more subtle fields, taste, touch, smell, this access to the brain is vital. So some other things that we're going to be talking about in this class that are really different than anything else you might want to hear about is the importance of setting agreements with the other side who you want to communicate with. So whether or not it's your guides, whether it's family, friends, whatever else might be there, making an agreement about how you're going to communicate with each other is essential. I was making the analogy to Bill today. If I'm on Zoom and Bill thinks we're talking on the phone, we're never going to meet each other, even though we're both on communication pathways, right? Yeah. So if you've got someone that wants to communicate with you through touch and you're trying to hear them, you're going to be two ships that pass in the night, right? If you're wanting to see something that has a vibration of taste or smell, you're not going to hear that. So you have to get on the same wavelength. And so during this class, Bill is going to be teaching this piece, how to make the agreement and figure out together how you're going to communicate. Like whoever thinks of these things, well, we do. So that's going to be something that we'll talk about.
Well, a lot of people talk about this, and like they have grief, right? After a loved one passes, there's tremendous grief. I've been trying to communicate, and it's like I really want to, and I miss them so much, and anyway, they're like ignore because they're looking, oh my gosh, an apparition needs to show up, or I need to hear them with my ear. But they don't do it that way. The person feels a touch on their shoulder or the brush of their hair, which they always would brush their hair before, but they're not looking in the right place. So the communication is twofold: the person on the other side and you have all of these senses. And what you're going to discover in this course is what senses are good for you and them. Where do you marry up? So maybe I have smell and I have the ability to hear, and then I can get a message telepathically. So I've got those set up. Now, For most of you, what's going to happen is you may have one or two. And through this course, you're going to find an expansion of that and greater clarity. So that's what this is. Number one, you'll discover it. And number two, you'll get greater clarity.
And just for everybody who's on the call today, you might think like, what kind of a message do I keep getting, but I keep disregarding because it's not the one I want. So Leah, I'm going to have you come on for a second. This is not the story that we were talking about earlier. Leah has a thing that happens about in dreams. So about grandpa showing up in dreams, but he gets fed up.
Yeah, it's actually both of my grandparents. But a lot of the times my grandpa, when since they passed, they have visited me in my dreams several times. But as soon as I see them, I start sobbing. And so I can't actually talk to them. I'm just like crying and, in shock that they're there. And so it got to where they kind of weren't visiting for a while. And every time they did, and I started sobbing, like they'd be like, "Oh God, what are we gonna do with you?" And then I would wake up. My logical mind is just too in the way. So
yeah. So, that's a situation where in the waking world, the grief set comes in where you have to collapse that pattern so that when that visitation happens, your nervous system is prepared. So I had a similar thing. My parents are really great about showing in dreams, not just for me and Leah, but for an aunt. And every time my dad would show up, partway through the dream, I would remember my dad passed with Alzheimer's. I would remember that he had Alzheimer's. So more recently, Leah and I were talking about that. I'm like, why do I keep remembering that? Like, I really would like to get that out. So I did, and that's not happening anymore. I'm not remembering in the middle of the dream. It's kind of like, okay, I'm showing up here, but you're holding me somewhere in the past. So these agreements for communications, but also getting our nervous system prepared for that communication is really, it is super important. So I think that's interesting. So, if you can't translate a message that is being sent, you're never going to hear from that person on the other side. So there's many of these little things that help your body be tuned to receive the message and be more aware when something is being given to you. The other part of it is being sent a message, but not knowing what the heck it means. Like something just happened, but what is it, right? So it's getting into part of your field, but not all the way in. Your frontal lobes are not actually translating that information. And that could have to do with how your nervous system is perceiving that message. So it's important to be able to make that adjustment. So let's talk a little bit about that, Bill, training the nervous system to interpret.
So, when your nervous system is in grief, right? It's like a shock. I mean, if you ever went through that, whether it was an animal, like a pet, or if it was like a loved one, it's like a shock to the nervous system. So it's very hard it's a low frequency and energy in your body, in your nervous system. It's in shock. So within this process, you'll move through that feeling so that you can be in more of a receptive state. In addition to that, you're going to learn about how you help them. Communication, the very nature of communication is twofold. Can I send and receive a signal? Can they send and receive the signal? It's twofold. And like we talked about earlier, we have all our different senses, and they don't have the capacity to send the right signal on the right frequency. So you're going to be able to actually get them into this course at the same time, and we'll be helping them out as well.
There really is a learning curve. So Bill and I were, talking about this before we got on and talking about the way that each of us has learned to receive information. So for me, I realized that it always felt like it was coming in this side. And there's actually a sensation that goes with it. If I had to describe it, I don't know that I could. But many of you heard how the square became a part, this peripheral vision that we're going to be teaching you, how that came into being. Well, it came in through that side. And I had asked a very specific question to whom I call no one in particular. Literally, it's just putting it out there. And all of a sudden, I felt the information starting to come, which requires for me listening, but not with my ears. I literally have to relax and let the information come. And I can't fight with it. I can't boss the universe. I cannot fight with the information. I've learned that I have to just relax my body, which is really important. There's a part of your brainstem right in here that restricts information or opens it. And when you're in fight or flight, that is closed. It's restricted. So it depends on what is your belief system about this information. If you're raised in religion, that puts you into fear about information. That's something that requires a cogno session to pull that fear out, get the body out of fight or flight. You may have to do some work to adjust your beliefs. I had a friend who was very religious, and her daughter was, getting messages and translating messages. And I said, wait a minute, I thought that you believed that that was bad, like the devil. And she's like, no, it's coming from God. And I said, okay, that's interesting. But if I were to do it, well, that's different because not the same religion, right? That's not the same thing, right? So maybe for you, you have a bias about where the information comes from. And you really do need to sort that out in your own system. That would be a big reason that you're not receiving your information. Now, if you believe the information comes from God, that's great. But you can still be in the same situation where you can't receive it because you're in fear of how it comes in to your system, or you haven't opened up the right communication channel. So angels, guides, God, ascended masters, all the same way. So some of those things to look at. Fear can be a really big issue for why you cannot translate information that's already coming. But also it could be that you are not a believer. So Leah, I want you to come on and share your story about how you got real confirmation. This is a fun one.
Okay, so I was making a painting of my grandpa, and my grandpa was still alive at this point. However, he was visiting us in our dreams and everywhere else randomly. He was visiting all of my family members. He was very active. So I was creating a painting of my grandpa, and I started with the eyes, which was really weird. You don't normally start with the eyes in your painting. And they looked super, super realistic. And I'm not like a trained artist, but they looked super realistic. And then I could not finish the painting. It was just eyes for a couple of months. And I would pass the painting and I just couldn't finish it. I couldn't do it. And, but every time I looked at it, it was like he was looking at me through the painting. So that was kind of weird, but whatever. I just kind of discounted it, but I couldn't finish the painting. So then during that time that I painted his eyes, I started to look at my dog, Whiskey. And when I looked at him, he looked like my grandpa. And that is a really weird thing to say, I know. My dog doesn't look anything like people, obviously. But every time I looked at him, I was like, for just a couple of seconds, it would look like my grandpa. And so I was like, that is so weird. And that went on for a while too. And so finally, I was like, you know what? I'm so sick of this. I'm a skeptic. I'm constantly questioning myself. And so I'm like, I'm sick of this. I want a sign. I want to know for sure that my grandpa's actually visiting me. I am done with these vague signs. I want something so specific that there is no way that I can argue that this is my grandpa visiting me. So, and then I forgot. I forgot that I said that. And I don't remember how long after that it was. Do you remember? Maybe
It was like the next day. I think it was
Yeah.
very, very short. It seemed like in my memory it was short time.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it wasn't very long after. And Whiskey, my dog, got an eye infection in his left eye, and it was all red and swollen, and I could not figure out what was wrong with his eye. There was nothing in it. Like, I washed it out. There was nothing wrong. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to drive to the pet store and get some stuff for his eye. So I'm on my way, and I was helping caregive for my grandpa at the time as well. And my grandma calls me while I'm on my way, and she's like, "Hey, where are you?" I'm like, "I'm driving. What do you need?" And she's like, "Can you please come help me? Grandpa has an infection in his left eye, and I cannot get the medicine in his eye," because she had Parkinson's and she was shaking. "Grandpa has an infection in his left eye, and I cannot get the medicine in his eye. Can you please come help me do it?" And I'm like, okay, well, thank you for the message. It was so insanely specific. I could not argue the coincidence that wasn't the sign I was looking for. I mean, it was gross, but it was the sign. It was a sign that I couldn't argue with. So there you go.
Yeah, that's kind of an extreme of that story where you're getting the message, not listening. But then you asked for a very clear sign and you got one.
I did.
I love it. I love that. And, Bill, I know we have just a short time. We need to start the session, but you also said you had a story about not listening.
Oh, oh gosh. I got a lot of stories about me not listening. Liz can tell you a few. But well, gosh. Well, this one starts with me as a child. I would I still can remember being only 1 or 2 years old, not one or two, first or second grade, and I'd be in church and I'd feel bzz, bzz in my back, and I was like, I'm like, like there, and it was like, is that God talking to me? And I was like, that lasted about 1 second, and my mind's elsewhere. But I completely ignored it. And anyway, fast forward to many decades later, the awakening happened for me, and I hadn't been in a church in 20 years, and I went to I remember I was in Catalina Island, and there was a Catholic church there. It was a little chapel, and I went over to the door and I put my hand on the door, and it's the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, wait a second. The memory from when I was a little boy. It was very hard to, like, huh, wow. Anyway, that whole feeling went nuts when I walked in that entryway. It was like, "Argh!" And then later on, I was able to, when I was maybe talking to somebody and there would be something I'm saying and that they needed to hear for whatever reason, something, my it would happen, and still to this day it still happens, but it's a lot. You're talking, and the feeling is there, and it's a lot of data coming in to try to deal with. But these are there's so many more stories that we have.
Yeah. Well, one of the big things that happens with Cognomovement in general, if you've been around a while, is that we get these reports that more and more things start to happen. People start to see guides. People have had miraculous healings with guides. People hear information. They start to be precognizant without intending to be. And the reason is simply this. As you relax your nervous system and open up more parts of your brain, you're able to get more information. It really is that simple. Bill's story is about knowing how to translate it. What does it mean? What does it do? And so that's where a little bit of just deeper learning how to tune your instrument and getting your frontal lobes to be able to translate and know what to do with it. Because what good is a message if it's in a foreign language, right? So that settling in, opening that reticular activating system in the brain, getting the parietal lobes to be reaching more into the field to receive that information, getting the frontal lobes to be able to translate, and then getting the nervous system to calm enough to be able to utilize and have an active reaction or appropriate reaction. So it's a lot of little things, but a lot of kind of little technical things that maybe we're not talking about. A lot of times we're talking about, how to receive only, but not how to decode in a way that is useful. And that's something that Cognomovement is actually quite good at. So Bill is going to lead us in clearing an energetic channel so that telepathy is a little bit easier. So do people need anything for this one, Bill? They need a ball? They need anything?
You know what? You don't need a thing. We're just going to do this, okay? But what you are going to do is you're going to imagine your little Cognomovement ball. So many of you already have these. You get it when you get your basic Cognomovement training pack. Anyway, we send you all that. But all I need you to do is just to imagine this. This is something we're going to utilize in a second. But first, I need to understand something. Telepathy is very, very natural. Everybody here has it. You've known when somebody calls and before you even turn the phone over, you're like, oh, that's this person or that's that person or somebody wants this or that. Now, this natural ability, we're going to learn, first of all, where is the actual physical channel? For every one of these senses, whether it's smell, touch, taste, hearing, sensing, there are energy channels that get clogged up. And they get clogged up, maybe that's not a great word. They've just they're not active. Or they may, yes. You're muted, Liz.
Just
You're still muted.
before you do to get into the session, Leah has a message. Just wanted to make sure you don't bypass it.
Okay. Leah, do you want to give your message now before I get into the a little bit more of this information?
Sure. Okay. I'm back. Aren't you excited? All right. This is super exciting. I love how clearly Bill and Liz show the link between perception and physiology and how the reticular activating system literally filters out what we're not ready to see. And that's what we're about to change. We're going to let Bill continue in just a minute. Tonight's session will begin opening that filter. Some of you may feel sensations move through your body or field. Some of you may see light or color where you didn't see it before. Some may feel a presence, a connection, or even messages coming through. Not imagination, but information. So that's what happens when you begin to see more of the light spectrum and the energy within it. This is just the beginning of what we'll do in the full Pierce the Veil series, which starts tomorrow. Each class builds on the last, opening your ability to feel, see, and know what's always been there. But first, we're going to let you experience it right now. Bill's about to lead you through a live Cognomovement process. I'm going to put the link in the chat in case you're interested right now in joining that class. And go ahead, Bill, continue with your thing.
Sorry for the interruption.
Okay, sounds great. All right. So the first channel that we're going to work on today is your telepathy channel. And well, where is that located? Well, where it is it goes like this. It goes across your forehead. It goes around your ears in the back. It goes down through the side of the neck. and then it goes right down to the hollow of the neck. So, again in reverse, it's here, it goes up the sides, it goes around the ears, across the temple. Anyway, it
Don't
goes.
we love letting Bill be himself?
Okay. So that's the channel. Now, this is you're going to imagine instead of the big ball here, you're just going to imagine a little ball, big one, little one. And what you're going to do is it's multicolored. This is multicolored just like a regular Cogno ball, same thing. But all the colors there, you're going to imagine all the colors, and you're going to imagine this ball traveling through this area. Now, there's some very, very specific instructions here. Before we begin, you're going to close your eyes for a second, and you're going to use your intention alone to break any agreements that you've made that are preventing you from accessing your telepathy. You might have said, well, I really don't like telepathy. I don't want to send or receive other people's signals. Okay, you can keep it that way. But if you're interested in getting better at your telepathy, then you can actually clear it out. So the very first part of this is just, you know what? If there's any agreements that I made, I'm just going to void them. With your intention alone, I'm voiding any agreements that limit my telepathy. And just be clear about it. And take a breath. Ah. And now you're going to take your little Cogno ball and you're going to imagine it. But this time, what you're going to imagine is this little Cogno ball is sticky. Every color on it is a different frequency, and that every color is sticky. It is the most sticky thing in the universe, and it will collect up any frequency that is that color that is clogging up those channels. So begin by closing your eyes, and we'll start by running that little ball right inside your head, right there, right below the skin, right across the eyebrows, across the right temple, around the right ear, down the side of the neck to the hollow of the throat. Now we're running it up the left side of the neck, around the ear, across the temple, and across the eyebrows. Take this little ball, imagine you're taking it out, and go throw it in the ocean. We're now going to imagine a little black Cogno ball. And we're going to do the exact same thing. It's sticky, it's black, and it's for any blockages that are sitting out there with these channels. These channels can get clogged up from a variety of different things. People may not want you communicating. You didn't want you communicating. You might have found yourself with communications, and then it didn't work out for you so well when you were a child. You knew the truth of something and then you said it. Oh, mommy, you said you didn't, you said you liked blah blah. And mommy's like, no, I don't like blah blah. But you knew better. So take that little black ball. We're going to go the opposite direction across the eyebrows to the left temple, around the left ear in the back, down to the hollow of the throat, up the other side, the right side, around the right ear, and across the right temple. And go take that and throw it in the ocean. And now we're going to create a brown ball. This brown ball, again, it's sticky, it's brown, and it is to collect up anything that is blocking my telepathic channels. Take this brown ball across the eyebrows, across around the ear, down the side of the throat, to the base, up the other side, and around the ear, and across the eyebrows. And take this little brown ball and throw it in the ocean. Breathe in. And now, I want you to open your eyes. And we're going to map this in. All the way left, all the way right. We're going to give a chance to the system to integrate this into the other parts of the brain. Everywhere we look is a different part of the brain. So we want to just go higher and higher with the eyes. Head is straight forward and level. We'll start at the bottom again, all the way left, all the way right. This allows our entire brain to take a look at this new channels and integrate it. Take a breath. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to create a clear. This is transparent. You can imagine a little ball, and this one is transparent. Now, why is it transparent? Well, this transparent ball is things that are hiding, right? We did all the colors of the rainbow. We did black and brown. And now we're going to do things that are hiding in these channels that are basically evading capture, if you will, to be evacuated. So this transparent, sticky little ball, what you're going to do is we're going to follow the exact same path through these channels. And the intention of this transparent, sticky ball is to collect up whatever's hiding in these channels and preventing clear communication. So this time you're going to do things just a little bit different. You're going to move your eyes as if you're following the ball. So physically, look up and imagine the ball is right there above your eyebrows. And we're going to begin by moving it across the eyebrows, across the temple. This sticky, transparent ball is now moving behind your right ear and then down the right part of your neck, down to the hollow of the throat, and your eyes are as if they're looking down to the hollow of the throat. That sticky transparent ball is there. You're going to work that ball all the way up the left side of your neck, collecting up whatever is in those telepathy channels that might be hiding and blocking communication around the left ear, and then sliding it across the left temple and across the eyebrows. And now take that ball out, throw it in the ocean. Take a breath in. Ah. And now, one more time, map it in. All the way left, all the way right. A little bit higher, a little higher, a little higher. Beautiful. Put your ball down, and we're going to open up your peripheral vision a little bit. This should be your first exercise with your peripheral vision. If you have a pen or your Cogno ball or your little keychain ball, you can use anything. But what you're going to do is head is straight forward and level, and we're going to simply, your eyes are straight forward, but you're looking at the pen or your Cogno ball. And just take it around in a big square. Keep your eye forward, and you're moving it in a square. All your attention is on the ball with your eyes are forward, with all of your attention on that little Cogno ball. All your attention's on it. If you want to shake it just a little bit to grab your peripheral attention, it'll stimulate those receivers that Liz was talking about earlier. For many of you, when you do this exercise, what'll happen is a sense of relaxation happens. It's not an accident. Your peripheral vision is associated with the parasympathetic, that involuntary relaxation response. All the way around, paying attention. Your attention's on that ball as it goes around. Beautiful. Okay, and close your eyes. Close your eyes, and now what you're going to do is there someone that you've been wanting to communicate with? The first part is just send them a hello. Imagine, you don't have to say their name or anything. You can just imagine you're calling out to them. Hey, are you there? And see if you get a message back. You can ask them any question that you might like. And see if you get a response. Now, this process, when you do get a message back, it'll almost seem like, is it my thought? Is that even real? Well, in time, you'll start to get better at this, meaning the discernment. At first, it feels like, that's just my thought. And then later on, you realize that the person was actually thinking of you because they called or you called them, and then they'll say, oh, hey, I was just thinking about you. Now, notice here, as you go through this week, notice if you start thinking about somebody and they call, or vice versa, or they email, or they text, all those different things. And notice how often that happens. You might see a significant uptick in this. That was the very first clearing for you. This was very abbreviated. We only have a very limited amount of time to do this. In the course, you're going to get a much more thorough workout, but that gives you a little bit of flavor, and I hope you enjoy your new telepathic enhanced capabilities.
All right. Awesome. So Leah, you're up next. Are you here? Leah has a quick message for you, and then when we come back, we're going to do a little Q&A.
All right. So, okay, that was great. That was a really great start. Thank you, Bill. Everybody in the comments say thank you to Bill. And then take a moment to notice what's happening. Some of you might be seeing movement or color or flashes of light. Some might feel temperature shifts or vibration in the air. And some of you are probably already noticing connection, the sense that something or someone maybe stepped a little bit closer. That's not your imagination. That's what happens when your nervous system opens to more of the light spectrum, when your perception starts tuning into the energy and consciousness that's always been here. If you felt that tonight, or even just a glimpse of it, because remember, this was a tiny, tiny piece of Cognomovement, then you already know that the Pierce the Veil Connect Beyond the Scene is your next step. We are starting tomorrow, October 30th at 4 p.m. Pacific. And we'll take you through 3 live sessions where each class expands a different sense, feeling the vibrational field around you, seeing the light and color that reveal energy, guides, and movement beyond the visible, and knowing the direct communication that happens when you connect across dimensions clearly and safely. This series isn't about theory or trying something out. It's about actual experience, and we have so much experience with this. We know it works. You'll learn how to open your awareness on purpose, how to interpret what you're perceiving, and how to integrate it into your daily reality. I will drop the link in the chat. If you felt something tonight, if you caught that shimmer, that movement, that presence, then you're already partway through the veil. Tomorrow, we finish walking through it together. And for those ready for the full transformation, you can also join the complete seasonal series, which is Pierce the Veil, Seasonal Reset for your winter blues, and Create Your Best Year Yet, which replaces that tired old New Year resolution. It's everything we're doing through the end of the year, all connected, all designed to keep you in this frequency. So let's open the Q&A. Tell us what you noticed. Ask your questions. We'll get your questions in for the next 15, 20 minutes. And I will put those links in the chat. All right, here we go. I'm gonna just add you guys here. It was busy here. I could watch the video, but not do the actual closed eye practice. Is this being sent to us over email? I hope so. Thanks to the Cogno team for doing this session. It was very interesting. Yes, we will always send a replay for Cogno Hour, so it will be sent through email. And if for some reason you don't get the email, the replay will always go onto YouTube. Oh, thank you, Bev, for being here. She says, thank you. I'm excited to participate tomorrow. Gotta run. Sometimes when my eyes are closed and I'm stretching my eyeballs, I get a little bright light zigzags of lights, and it seems like they are places where I'm stuck.
Ooh, that is an interesting catch. So when your eyes are closed and you're stretching your eyeballs, you get little zigzags of light. Well, it also could be that you're literally seeing information moving between your eyes and your brain. That's a part of eyes closed and that internal looking. But if it feels like it's a part where you're stuck, then it probably is. So I would say open your eyes in that position and do your Cogno work. Get your eyes to stretch. What we usually do is kind of move in a stretch state in that area. So go between closed, See if it's still there. Open, closed, open. What we're looking for is what's different. If you can make that change, then you can make the connection between the eyeball and the brain different. And so when it's different, then the pathways have another route to go. So that's what I would do with that and see what happens next. Any other thoughts about that, Bill?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that covered it.
So we had a question about whether there will be replays of the actual Pierce the Veil series that's happening tomorrow. Yes, if you get tickets and you can't come to any of the days of the Pierce the Veil series, you will get a replay. And all of our series and our courses are made to play again and again and use them for different things and different experiences. So we always send the replay for those who missed it, but also so you can watch it again and try new things. Tanya said, thank you so much. I felt a lovely, warm feeling over me afterwards. Somebody, I don't have a name, says I experienced a hot flash just across my face.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. That is a big thing that happens, right, Bill? Temperature change, hot, cold, chills, hot flash.
Yeah, and for you, congratulations. You're about to have some new experiences. So good for you.
Yeah, very interesting.
Jem says, thanks everyone. That was great and lovely to see you. I'm hoping for a dream with dad tonight. Fingers crossed. So definitely let us know if that happens. We want updates.
Very specifically, your the person that wanted the dream, there's this other channel that you just opened up today. Try talking to him. See what comes back. See what comes back. There's more.
Nick said, why would I have a headache doing this? Also, I started coughing or yawning at different times when moving the different colored balls.
Oh, Nick, again. Nice. Okay, Nick. So, woo. Um, gosh, I wish I could be with you tomorrow to see what happens. First things first, break those agreements. Do you have a funky agreement with like, oh, I shouldn't, have this ability? You need to be very, very clear on that. The other thing is you're going to have to do it several times. Do this again. Watch the replay and do it again because you're not quite done. So do the entire thing again. Um, Headaches, uh, basically resistance. So you're going to find it's going to go away as you do it more, and you're going to get more and more clear. Yawning is one of those standard cognitive movement things that happen when you're making change and you're releasing and you're on the path. That's one of those things that happens.
One other thing, if you do tend to get a headache when you're doing Cogno, a lot of times that it's dehydration. So when we are moving energy, we're literally moving electricity through the body and opening new pathways. And there's a big demand for water and salt. So if the headache continues, Nick, try getting a little extra Himalayan sea salt in. I normally have my bottle here, or Celtic, just not table salt, any kind of natural salt, and a little extra water. And that could help as well. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Would you read Daniel Hernandez's? I think he's looking for.
Yeah, he said
Bill
you
mentioned.
mentioned a study on the effects of perception and what is perceived. Could you please mention it again?
Oh, so there's been, I can't remember the documentary, but you're very specifically, it was around peripheral vision, and there was a bunch of studies, and there was some technology that was derived from it, which would allow additional light spectrum to be perceived, and it had to do with the peripheral vision. I don't remember the name of it. Maybe Liz, you do. Um, but
not offhand, but if you go to our resources on Cognomovement and the resources page, there is 131 pages worth of science information. It's put in like a book form, simple booklet. Scroll through to the peripheral vision part of that, and you will be able to look up more of the related studies to parietal lobes and peripheral vision.
Nick here following up. Thanks, team. You're right. After pretty much every Cogno practice, my body makes me drink tons of water and eat Himalayan sea salt and olive oil.
Yeah.
Ambika said, where is this, Liz? It's under resources on our website. Just look at the top menu and it's under resources. Thank you. I'll check out the resources page.
Yeah, they go to linked in usually NIH linked information. There are some links to studies and also articles as well. You should be able to click on them and go right to the information that you're looking for.
Also, I want to mention that the Pierce the Veil series, like I said, it starts on October 30th. However, it starts tomorrow. However, if you cannot make it to the first class or anything, like I said before, the replays will be there. So if you want to come, still get your tickets. We'll send you the replay as soon as it gets uploaded. And also, if you don't have essentials already, essentials is required for the for Pierce the Veil. And there is a ticket that includes essentials. If you want to get essentials done before you start Pierce the Veil, definitely get that ticket today so that you can finish up your essentials. If you decide or last minute get a ticket and decide you can come, you can definitely still come to the Pierce the Veil class. Just make sure you finish your essentials and then watch it again. So I just want to make that note.
Before we go tonight, I want to answer Ambika's question about, she said she has a problem on her right side of her eye, faces out of alignment, and around the right eye, it felt weird, dryish, both and face for days. So somewhat lazy eye. So this is really important. It's a little off topic for what we're talking about tonight, but very important in the terms of brain health, neurological health, and your intuition actually as well. So if you happen to have a Cogno ball, and I know Ambika does, what you're going to do is put yourself in the position where there's a little strain in the eye. And then you're going to find one of these symbols. I think I need to spotlight myself, Lee. You're going to find one of these symbols. So you'll aim it at yourself. But watch my eyes. You're going to put it in that position. And it could be anywhere from the center over, but just a little strain. What you're going to do next is actually shift the hemispheres of your brain. You're going to focus with one eye individually and then the other with both eyes open. So you're going to start with that eye that's giving you trouble. And really focus on that symbol like you could laser through it with that one eye, like you're a superhuman, right? And you have laser vision through that one eye. You're going to want to take a big, deep breath, relax into it, and let your focus really go into that symbol. Now, the symbol has nothing to do with it. It's just something to keep your eye focused. Now, on the next deep breath, so you're going to focus for about 30 seconds. On the next deep breath, you're going to shift your focus to the opposite eye with both eyes open. Now, that takes a little doing to really think about it and switch hemispheres of the brain and put your focus through the other eye. Breathe through it like you could laser. You may even have to turn your head a little bit to get it to do it, but then come back to central and focus with the opposite eye. So in my case, like the left eye now, breathe through that eye, laser focus. It's really about focusing the attention of that hemisphere of the brain. And then a big deep breath and go back to the original eye. and focus. You're going to do this for about 5 minutes, switching the focus of the eye. And it's not easy, but what will start to happen is it'll get easy, where you can switch from your left eye to your right eye, to your left eye, to your right eye. It will also have the effect, often for many people, of recalibrating that eye. That lazy eye will come back into position. It also really super improves eyesight and balance and your IQ, because you're able to switch hemispheres at any time that you want. So this is really, really useful. So Ambika, this is going to take a little doing for you, but put your focus on it and maybe do it a couple of times during the day. The other thing you can do is just make a nice little spiral there and get that eye stretching. So if you can look at the ball with just that eye, look at it with just that eye and move the ball. Switch to the other eye and move the ball. That's a little bit of an advanced version. But as simple as that is, it is extraordinarily useful. So that's my answer to that. Anything else before we go? I know our time's just about up.
Looks like everybody is done with their questions, I believe. Because it says, wow, thanks. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for being here, for joining us once again for our Cogno Hour. It was so amazing for you to be here. I'm going to put the links in the chat just one more time. For those of you who have tickets, we will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific. And it's going to be really cool. So I'm really excited. We always have some really amazing things that happen during this series. So thank you again so much, and we will see you tomorrow.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll see you all again really soon. Bye.